I'm gonna try and use quick scripts in the sense of a like sci-fi walking sim. So we're gonna kind of make our way through this level and choose a couple of different things. Set up a couple of different events to sort of look at that kind of stuff. Yeah, and I'll sort of walk through like what the different scripts can do for you. I'll just program that so we can see chat on the side. Okay, so first things first, I just want to say that this asset pack that I got off the store, it is free. There's the sci-fi level layout one. You can get it here. It's called Sci-Fi Level 2 by Mixed Dimensions. It's a great little kit. It's got some nice prefabs in it. Some modular pieces, and we're going to use that today for our little walking situation. What we might do straight off the bat is we'll set up a few lights in the scene. So we'll do some quick lights, actually, quick script lights. So to start with, these will be pretty basic, but the nice thing about the quick script lights is that they come with a whole bunch of customizable features, so we can change their color, we can change their animation. I'll just chuck a couple down here for the time being, and they don't quite match what's going on, and we'll just change their color to blue for now. So what we're going to do in this is we're going to make our way through the scene. We're going to go up to these two pod things. We're going to click on them. They're going to descend down into the floor. And then we've done both of those. The quick lights are going to turn and start flashing red. And then we need to get onto this spaceship. And that will be like an elevator that will take us up through the roof and out into the void. I don't know, it's just like an example thing. So I guess what we'll start with is actually just by making some sort of door thing that we need to walk through. So there's actually already like a door structure here already. So let's duplicate that, pull that forward to maybe about here. Oh, it's not two-sided, that's fine, I can work with that. It's so weird streaming without music, but because this is going online, I can't have music. Okay, so what's important with QuickDaw is that you have everything sort of grouped under the one game object, one transform. So I'm going to create an empty, I'm going to call this entry door. I'm going to put my three door pieces into that. I've got a door, door light, and the other side of the door. Entry door. Now, I'm going to guess that this probably doesn't have collisions, does it? Nope. Alright, let's check a box collider on that. And extend it out to both sides. Something a little bit... It's a bit nasty, but whatever. It's fine. It's just a demo. So, with a quick door, it's important that you have a quick trigger as well to set up so that you can open the door. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll start with the door. So I'm choosing now the actual entire game object, entry door, in the hierarchy. I hope you can see that. I know my stream quality isn't great, but we'll see how we go. Alright, so add component, quick door. And, oh, my head is in the way. Okay, hang on, I'll just move myself. Hang on. Wow. I won't need this corner. So, if you can see this in the hierarchy over here, like if your quality is good enough for that, if the stream quality is good enough, the different door types is slide up, slide down, left, right, forward, back, and pivot as well for pivoting doors. We're just going to keep this nice and easy and just use slide up, and we'll use a linear move type, but you can also use smooth as well, but we'll just go with linear. And duration to open, I think maybe 2 seconds. We'll do that. So I can test that now by, oh no, we'll figure it out, it should be fine. Although there's no mesh attached to this, so it might need a custom move distance. We'll see how it goes. Let's also set up a trigger to interact with it. So, game object, quick scripts, presets, quick trigger, or you can make a collider box and just chuck the quick trigger component onto it. It's up to you. But this is a fast way to set it up. So I've got this here, and because it's just a trigger box and nothing's going in it, I'm just going to scale it up to the size that I need. And because the door takes 2 seconds to open, we might also give it a bit of distance as well. Okay, so quick trigger has giving me this little red error at the moment, and that's just saying that there's no interactable tags. So in order for the trigger to work, it needs the tag of an object that will be able to set off the trigger, activate the trigger. And in most cases, the tag would be player. So I'm going to scroll down, and I can actually click on Edit Tags here. And this field shows me the tags that are currently in game. If you already know what tags you have, though, you can just manually change the size of the interactable tags and just type it in yourself. Or it will do that for you. So, either way. Anyhow, if that's all done, then that little red error will go away. So on trigger enter, I want the door to open. QuickScripts is automatically set up so that all of the QuickScript elements actually you can publicly access their functions through the trigger as a way to really easily make all the different parts work together. So with the quick trigger, we're going to drop on entry door into trigger enter, and then we're going to go to quick door and open door. Nice and easy. So let's test this out. I think that's the door there. Oh, hang on, I know what I've done. I did not tag the player. Rigid body. Alright, I'll set its tag to player. And now this should work. Okay. What's going on? I bet it's set to static. I bet these are set to... Yeah, they are. Okay. So if your meshes aren't moving, it might be because they're set to static for light baking purposes. So I'm just going to untick that and try again. Alright, nice and easy. Our door opens. Cool, cool, cool. Now what about if we want the door to close behind the player? That's actually incredibly easy to set up. We go back to our quick trigger, and we'll go to on trigger exit. We're going to add in an event. We'll grab the door, put that in there, go to the quick door, and choose the close door public function. And if you don't want the player to be able to go back through the door, you just need to tick trigger once. So the door will open, we'll go through, and then as we exit the trigger, it'll close, and we shouldn't be able to open it again. So there you go. We're now logged in. Aha. So, let's make a few interesting things happening around the scene. Let's go to this area. First of all, let's get a light in here. Again, we'll do a quick light. Chuck it in the middle here, and we will set it to green. And we might use a quick light script to do something a bit more interesting. Let's make it pulse slow at a speed of 1. 2 is the default speed, but make it pulse at a speed of 1. Yeah. And let's make this big thing rotate. I'm going to take off the collider because I want to be able to walk on top of it. Alright, to make things rotate, it's incredibly easy. You just click on it, you get add component, quick rotate. Cool. Now we can set its speed. what I might do is actually jump into play mode. I'm gonna put the game window separately so I can watch it in the scene. Whoops, wrong way. Okay. Yeah, alright. Cool, we'll set it to 1. That should be fine. Might be a little bit too fast, because it is quite a big piece. 0.5. Alright, cool, works for me. Is that light doing its thing? Pulse slow, speed of 1. Yeah, okay. Okay, so let's also now have a look at these little pod things. So let's set up a scenario where the player has to go up to each pod and click the interact button, whatever that might be, and the pods will then drop into the ground. And when they've done both of them, then lights will change and the player can then go and get on top of the little UFO platform thing and ride it up into the sky. First thing we need to do, we'll need a quick trigger for the pods, and then we'll actually put the door script on these as well, just to make them drop down to the ground. What I'm going to do though, because I've already got a quick trigger in the scene, I'm going to just label this quick trigger entry door, and come over here and we'll do a game object, quick scripts, presets, quick trigger. Cool. That's pretty much all I need. As big as it needs to be. And because we need 2 of these, what we might do is actually set up our basic parameters first, like, you know, the tag for the player. So I'll edit tags, I'm going to add player, and click add. Cool, you can see now that's been added to its list of tags. And these ones, I want the player to have to press a button when they're standing inside it. So here, under all the events, there's optional input requirements for trigger stay. So that means that the player can stand inside the trigger but won't actually do anything until they press the correct input. And you can choose if you want it to be a key input, an axis input, like if you're using a controller, or a mouse input, like left click or right click, that kind of thing. Or even a combination of those as well. And you can also choose what the input type is, if they have to hold it down, or if it does it on release. So let's say you have something that has to be charged up, and you need the player to hold down the X button or something. You can set all of that up inside Quick Trigger. But this one's just nice and easy. We'll do on input down, and when they press, it requires a key input, and that key is E. So those are the basic things for that. What I'm going to do now is name it Quick Trigger Pod, and I'm going to duplicate this and put the other one over there, just so I don't get it confused later on. Pod 2 and Pod 1. Alright, so back over here, we'll set this up so this little capsule is like a, it's going to drop down into the, whatever this is. And to do that, we just give it a quick door. It's really easy, and we tell it to slide down, and we give it a distance, custom move distance, of 2, just to be sure. 2 units. Duration is 1, that's fine. Doesn't have audio, doesn't need audio. You can add audio to this if you want to, so you can have like door opening sounds, like you can hiss while it opens, and then you've got choices, 4 choices. You have as it starts to open, as it hits its open position, as it starts to close and as it hits its close position. So most people just use 2 audio clips, moving or hitting position. But if you have something that's actually more complicated than just a normal door, you can hook up 4 different audio sounds in that. Like if something raises up and then falls down or something. So, no, it does not have audio. Yeah, cool. And let's set that up. Quick trigger pod 1, element player, blah, blah, blah. Alright, so on trigger stay, because remember that the optional input requirements are for trigger stay, not the others. So that means that we then need to put our open door from the pod into trigger stay. We do that. What's it called? It's called a capsule, I think. Is that the right one? Oh, it's that one. Okay. I'm going to name that capsule 1, capsule 2. Alright. Quick door, open door. Sweet. Let's test that out. 2 seconds. Anorak's got a question. Anorak asks, is the key name based on Unity's key code conventions or just based on whatever the character is and then QuickScript finds the key from there? No, it's based on Unity's key codes. Yeah. So, for that reason, if you want to set up your own custom stuff, that's why I included axis input as an option, so that you can then go and set up whatever button that is for whatever axis it is. And you can do that in project settings, edit, project settings, and input. You can actually set up all of your axes in here. So you can literally just type in, fire 1 as your axis input. And then in your input manager, you can set what fire 1 actually is, like what button that is, all the rest of that kind of thing. And that way it can also hook into gamepads, controls, and that kind of thing. Cool. Alright, so let's have a look at this. Our door opens. This platform is turning around. We've got our light that's glowing slowly, pulsing slowly over time. Alright, this is a bit dark. I'm going to change some lighting down here. So walk up to this thing, and we're currently inside the trigger. If we press E, nothing happens. Alright, probably because these little capsules are also set to static. They are. How about that? Alright, how about I set that to that setting as well? Cool, walk up to here, press E. Oh, there he is. Okay. Cool. And then I need to go and do the same with the other one. Alright, so you can't use rotate or hover with these. That's something I'll look into the future. But cool, I figured out what's going on wrong with it, at least, which is good. It's better than having no idea whatsoever. So now that that's done, let's look into changing the scene when you have done both of those. Now for this I will have to write a little bit of code, unfortunately. But it's alright, it's easy. So what I'm going to do is set up a code that's going to take interaction between both of the pods so that it can sort of record if both pods have been pressed down into the ground. And then it's going to flip over to warning lights. It's going to change all the quick lights here over to warning lights, and it's also going to change the ceiling lights from blue to red, which I had set up before. There's different ways you can do this, but we're just going to be doing a lot of set active and not set active kind of thing. So let's just jump in and set up that script now. I'll just make a new. Make a new script called Game Controller because that's pretty standard. Okay, cool. So public bool pod 1, public bool pod 2. Oh, I don't know if you can see this or not. Let me just put that in. Pod 2. And a list of game objects and a list of just game objects. Is it new? It might be new. Blue lights. New list. And red lights. And a list of quick lights. Quick lights. What have I missed? So we'll make a function for the trigger, the quick trigger to run. It has to be public, otherwise I can't access it. Activate pod, and we're going to take an integer, int I. So if I is 1, pod 1 equals true, else if I equals 2, pod 2 equals true. Then it will do a check. So if they're both activated, this means that the player can then go and activate them in either order. So if they're both true, then we'll run another public, another function. Alarm lights. And when alarm lights happens, we'll do for each game object in so when this alarm lights is called, when both pods have been pressed, it's going to go through the list of game objects in the blue ceiling lights. It's going to turn them all to false, and then, as you might have assumed, is I'm going to go through the list of blue red lights and set them to true. And then it's going to go through, I feel like it's probably an easier way to do this, a better way to do this, the quick lights. It's going to do a couple of things. It's going to set up a gradient. Light Yeah, okay, so it's a couple of things it's going to do. What might be best is if I show you how Quick Lights is set up. So, Quick Lights comes with a few different things that you can do. If I bring up the inspector of it, it's got here the light type, and that's just a series of settings. Now this, if you were to put an integer value to each of these, standard is 0, and then, pardon me, and then, you know, pulse slow is 1 and through to 9 or something, I think. So there's that, and there's also override color, which has the option to put in a color gradient. And these can all be set up as you wish. For each quick light, we'll get component. QL.transform get component get child. We'll access the light first, just a normal light, because I want to change its color. Equals red, and then we can set its light type. So light type. Okay, light type equals quicklight dot and light animation dot. Oh, there we go. So you can just set them there. Pulse slow. Okay. So under game controller, I'll now add that script. Game controller script, and I think there's something missing. These need to be public, so I can actually add in those game objects and lights from the scene. I can add it into the script so it can actually, you know, it knows what to reference when it needs to run that event. Wait for that to update. Okay, so we're adding first our blue lights, which is... Oh, you know what? I've actually already set this up to be even more efficient. I've actually just put all of my lights under one game object. So this doesn't even need to be the way it is. We'll just do public game object. Gosh. Blue light group, and public game object. Red light group. And down here, blue light group set active false, and red light group set active true. Does that make sense? If anyone's got any questions, feel free to sing out. Okay. So, you can see I grouped them here. So, put everything underneath these game objects. So I can just turn them on and off the whole lot easily in one hit. So, with that in mind, I'll put the blue light group here, and so that's red there. Now the quick lights, which it needs, how many of them are there? 2, 3, there's 4 of them. Whoop. 4. 1, 2, 4. You can set up your code to grab those lights automatically at the start when you load the level, but today I'll just manually drop them in. Okay, and the other thing we need to do now is we wrote this script which was public void activate pod with an integer. So on the trigger, on trigger pod, we can add more than one thing to happen when it gets triggered. Right now it's just doing open door, running open door on the capsule to send the capsule into the ground. What we will do though is we'll add a second event, and we'll grab the game controller, put it in there, open this up, go to the game controller script, and here it is. Here's our public function, activate pod. Click that, and it requires an integer. So this one is pod 1, so we'll put that in there. And then we'll go to the other one. And you haven't actually got anything set up yet. Alright, cool. On trigger stay. There's pod 2. Pod 2, quick door, open door. Alright, what are your settings? Move distance 2. Okay. So quick trigger on the second one opens the pod now. Well, pushes the pod into the ground, and we'll also hit that, connect that up with the game controller. Activate pod, and this one is number 2. So if everything has gone to plan, which it probably hasn't, let's be honest. When we activate those 2 pods, the lights should change to pulsating red. Let's find out. Let's speedrun this. Come on, let's go. Excellent, that's 1. And 2. Sweet. Aha! Great, so the lights have now changed, and our quick lights are now set to red and pulsating. So now it's like, hey, alarm stations, things are happening. As you can imagine, this was just a very short situation I set up in about, 5-10 minutes? If you put a bit more time into it, you could actually make some massive changes in your scene based on, what the quick trigger is activating. And now the last thing I'm going to do is, when that's all done, you're going to stand on that platform and hit use again. And the platform will rise up and then out through the top. Okay, so now for the quick mover. So if we just drop, you go to add component, or you can even go up to component up here as well, and your quick scripts are available through there. Quick mover. This is perhaps the most complex of the scripts in the quick scripts pack. So what we're doing today is not particularly like a great use of it, because you can do a lot with this, and as a recent update, you can now run multiple movers on the same node path. So as I just mentioned, node path, it does have to have a node path to work off to actually send it to someone to move along. And how do we do that? Well, we need to first click create waypoint node. Great. So what it's done is it's made a separate empty transform, which will be storing the nodes underneath. So it's made the start position, which is where the platform is right now, and then it's made the first node for us where it will move towards. And if I just drag that out, you can see it actually creates a little line. So what I'm going to do is actually put that there. I'm going to make it sort of like hover in the middle of the room for a bit, and then it will continue up and out into the void. And it's really easy to extend your node path. All you have to do is just duplicate the last node in the list here, and then that is now the next node that it will move towards. And we're just going to go straight up and out. There we go. So I can see there, if I go into isometric mode, I can see if that's straight, and it is not. So we'll grab that middle node and kind of adjust that. Gonna get a side-on view, and another one. Alright, cool. So that looks pretty good. I can set the speed of the mover and lots of other different options. I can also set the speed at which it moves towards each node and how long it waits at each node. And I want to wait at the second node for maybe 2 seconds. And I want it to move slowly towards this node and then fast out towards the last one. So override speed changes the speed of moving to this node, and the move speed will be 0.5. And then it will go back to its normal speed after that, I believe. So those are our nodes there. We'll pop that up next to the platform game object so we can kind of keep a track of it, keep an eye on it. And on the quick mover, its move speed is 2. Great. And this ball here is moving, means that as soon as the game starts, it's set to is moving. Now, as you might imagine, we don't want that, so we'll tick that off. What we do want is another quick trigger, which will start the platform moving. Maybe this one just as soon as the player stands on it. Let's do that. Quick scripts, presets, and quick trigger. Size it up. We'll make it just the size of this inner ring, so I know for sure the player is standing on the platform when it goes to move. I'll just name that quick trigger platform. Again, remember to set the tag to player, or whatever your tag it is that you need. And this one is going to be on trigger enter, and it's only going to trigger once, otherwise it's going to be an absolute mess. And we're going to grab the platform, which the mover script is sitting on, go to quick mover, and I want this one set moving as a bull, and tick that to true. However, what we don't want is for the player to be able to stand on the platform from the moment the game starts, right? So that means we need to go to our game controller and just make a couple of adjustments here. We'll just put it as a game object, public game object, platform trigger. At start, platform trigger will be false. And then when alarm lights happen, platform trigger becomes true. So what it means is actually just turning off the entire game object that the trigger is attached to, so the player cannot do anything because the trigger doesn't exist until the alarm lights come on. Now we should have ourselves a little walking experience with a couple of things that need to be done. You walk in. Let's just test this out to start with. Oh no! It's because I was silly and did not include that in here. There it is. A public platform trigger on the game controller script. Cool, you walk onto it, doesn't do anything. Let's go and activate our 2 pods. There's 1. I'm pressing the E key, by the way. That's still part of this. And 2. Cool, it's all alarm bells now. Our lights are pulsating on and off. And this should take us up into the sky. Yeah, cool. Alright, so obviously it's conflicting with Unity's rigid body. Oh, will it wait? Okay, it's cool, it's waiting there for 2 seconds. And then it has not gone back to its original speed. Which is okay, because it would, in order to do that, you would just go to the next node. And just set it back to whatever it was. Quick, or is it platform mover nodes? That's the first one, and then override speed again and set it back to what its normal thing would be. Anyway, And the reason that that wasn't so great with the collider is because the collider is actually bumping up against the platform's collider. In future, I am planning an extension to QuickScripts, which will allow you to do things like easily change the parent of a game object to something else. Just exactly for examples like this, where you want your player to be able to step into an elevator or a moving platform and to smoothly move with it. We've been on for an hour now, so we might actually maybe just leave it there. So this will be available online to watch at a later date if you want to come back and have a look at how that was set up. We didn't even look at everything. You know, you can use Quick Door for like pivoting doors. I use a little bit of hover and rotate, but they don't work with quick doors right now. I'm gonna have a look into that. So that might be an update to come. You know, I'll put that on the bug list. What else did we not look at? Pendulum, spawner and teleport. So you can also set up things to spawn items in, or teleport, you know, something to somewhere else. And the teleport is just like the trigger, and then it takes a tag of an object that will be teleported. And you can also set up particle effects and audio to run when the teleport is happening at this, you know, all at the same time. It's all just drag and drop. You know, your first time setting up might be a little bit tricky, but there's documentation, there's videos on each feature as well. If you ever need help, you can click a little button at the top here that says show help, and it's got some tips on how to use it, and then a link to a user guide, which is stored locally, so you don't have to be online to get access to the user guide. You will, however, need to you know, have an internet connection if you want to watch the videos which explain how to set up different features, video tutorials. So the video tutorials on you know, setting up a quick trigger to open and close doors, moving platform, how to make a quick teleporter with sound and particle effects, how to correctly set up and use a quick spawner, and also hover, rotate, and pendulum. How to use those together, because they can work together. Didn't know they couldn't work with Quick Door. So anyway, something to look into next time. Cool. That's it. I'll wrap it up there. And I'll be back online tonight, later on, for the 8 PM stream. We're back working in Lucid Road, doing some fun stuff with puzzles. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you again soon. Bye.